Lorena, if you could please take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, hi everyone, this is Lorena. I'll be moderating. Thank you for joining our Influencer Roundtable on behalf of Selena, the series. We have Alexis Mendiaz from We All Grow Up first.
Hi, so my first question is, so in the series, we see so many personal moments between the family members and their each like dynamic relationship. So my question is, what do you want other families who may watch this together to get from the series?
You want to start, Ricardo?
Seidy, please. Please.
Okay. I want them to just kind of take all the warmth that our family in the show gave. You know, I want them to realize that it is a story about Selena, but it's also a story about family. Mm-hmm. And it took work for them to get to where they are, and they did it together. And that was like the beautiful thing about it. We all know Selena being on stage and having these huge venues, but they didn't start that way. You know, they started very young, very little, like in a garage practicing with their dad mentoring them. And so that's beautiful. Those connections between their father and them as musicians, with them and their mother. Like, you know, there's this one scene where we're talking to younger Selena and we're kind of teaching her on how to connect to the lyrics of the music and feel with her heart. All of those things, yes, they're relevant to the story, and yes, they're about like building who Selena was, but there are also connections between parents and children, and hopefully those are things that they can relate to.
Thank you.
Great, and next we have Andreina Rodriguez for We All Grow.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you. So my question is, as actors portraying such important people, especially within the Latinx community, what do you each believe were your biggest strengths, and what would you like to achieve individually with this project?
Let's see, my biggest strength, I guess for me, you know, coming from South Texas and having grown up with this story kind of as part of the framework of my youth and my young adulthood. I know the story. My father is around the same age as Abraham and of the same generation. A lot of my tios are as well. So I had a very deep well of information and material to draw from on my approach to this character. So I think those were a lot of things that helped me. But also, what was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
Basically, what would you like to achieve with this project?
You know what I mean. What I hope that we achieve as a production and as a series is that, you know, we add to the enduring legacy of Selena and this story. It is you know, she's truly been an icon, and that we also get to inform a new generation about who this person is and how important she is to our Latino community, to our Mexican American community, and to our South Texas region.
I think for me, what I had that helped me was that I'm a mother to teenagers. So I was able to relate that way. I was born in Mérida, Yucatan. So I remember a lot of those shows, and also living here in the States with my parents, and that Mexican American experience of coming home and can't wait to see what's going to happen with a telenovela tonight, you know, and then sharing that with my parents. And then also watching, you know, Raúl Velasco, watching Lupita D'Alessio sing all of those intense songs. And so I was able to relate to a lot of those parts of the story personally. And also I felt that Marcela is very similar to my mom. There were a lot of things. I was born in 1971. So I had a lot of those same experiences. You know, I lived through them as a teenager and in my 20s, in the 80s and 90s. And so it was almost like looking through a glass at those times and revisiting them through my mom's perspective, which was such a gift. So yeah, for me, what I would like to achieve is kind of what I mentioned earlier, that hopefully people are inspired by the story, and that they hopefully take something personal with them, that it inspires them just to go after their dreams and to be excited about the process of achieving things.
Thank you.
Next, we have Elena Fernandez from The Positive Mom.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, and I love the series. Stellar. Thank you. And my question is about entrepreneurship. I run a business with my daughters, also teenagers, and I was wondering how you can relate to the family working together, and what are the lessons we can learn about working together and being business together as a family.
I think working to get, you want to take it? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go. You go first.
No, please.
Okay. When I think about working together, I think that it's an advantage. It's kind of a gift, because most people don't get that opportunity. You know, a lot of people can only have like a few hours when they get home from work to have dinner with their family and share what their day was like. And then they have to leave early in the morning, and then, or call their kids on their phone. I mean, Ricardo and I even had some of these experiences where we were at work, and you miss your kids, you know, you miss like making sure that they're okay, following up, you know, just to see how their day was. So working together and having the experience to have a business together, you get to be creative together, you get to kind of teach them, you know, just how to do things, how to manage a business, give them that part of yourself. And at the same time, also grow. It helps you also grow, I think, as a family tighter, because you gain like this extra respect for each other by having that experience. I think it's beautiful. And if you have that, it's a gift.
Thank you. I would love for Ricardo to also chime in. Thank you.
I think that what you're doing is incredible, and I think Seidy's absolutely right in her answer. But I'm gonna be honest with you, my family would kill me if I was around them all day long. Like when we were at home in the pandemic, after about 2 months, my son was like, "Dad, when do you go back to work? Because you need to leave." And you know, it's just because my job is such that, you know, when I was doing a play in London for 5 months, I was doing a play in New York for 5 months, I was doing a play in Minneapolis, I go over here to shoot this show in Hawaii, and go over here to shoot this show in Mexico, and I know my family's gotten really used to me being gone, because when Dad's home, that means Dad's not working, and that's not a fun dad to be around. So yeah.
Thank you.
But again, if you have that opportunity and you get to spend that kind of time and share entrepreneurship, I think that's an amazing, cool idea, and you go for it. But my family would not be on that train with me at all.
Thank you.
And up next, we have Susie Boluarte from Happy Mess Moments.
Hi, guys. You all had amazing chemistry and felt like a family. Did you guys get to spend time before shooting, and how did you build that chemistry that we clearly see on screen?
We did have this great, remember the first dinner? We had this great dinner with the cast. Unfortunately, Christian couldn't meet us at that dinner because she was still shooting The Walking Dead. But first thing we did is after we met early that day, we decided to all have dinner that night. And we started kind of like the first day of school, you know, where you kind of like are shy. You're kind of like, you know, hi, so who are you, blah, blah. And by the middle of it and the end of it, we're like laughing and just kind of, you know, cracking jokes. And it just kind of stayed that way throughout the production, where we just clicked. And we were so fortunate to have that, because when you're going to be a family and when you're going to work, to have that right away is very, very important. And so we were kind of lucky. At least I feel that way. I'm not going to speak for you. You can answer your.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it started immediately. I mean, look, there's always these moments of shyness, when you're getting together for the first time and working on a project, whether it's a theater project or TV project or a film project, and as actors and also as a production, you're asked to come together very quickly and rapidly and form relationships and immediately start working together and throw yourselves into situations. And I remember, like, Seidy, the first thing that we did together was just a little bit of a screen test. But they're asking me to like, come and hug Seidy, and I've just met her, and that can be awkward, and I'm a person, I don't like people touching me, like it's no, I mean that's just how I am, and but the thing is I know that Seidy and I have to create a relationship, and so I said, okay, are you ready to do this? And she was like, yeah, and she was game and I was game. And then we start talking and we start forming our relationship and forming our friendship. And then I find out that she has 2 kids and I have 2 kids, and they're of similar age. And it just all of a sudden it helped, and it created a really great friendship, a work friendship that became more than a work friendship. That we're all bonded now. These 5 actors that play this family, and I know, like, we're never going to lose contact with each other, and that's a beautiful thing.
You do kind of create this family outside of on screen. Yeah.
And up next, we have Jorge Narvaez from Reality Changers.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jorge Narvaez. Very happy to be here. Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, Seidy, for your amazing performance in the first 4 episodes that I've seen so far. I really appreciate the chemistry. Ricardo, I really appreciate your role. Okay, I come from a role of being a dad of 3. I sing with my kids. I do vlogs about being a family. So I work from home, and I understand what you mean about being at home all day with the kids. It's like super frustrating. My kids don't even want me in the house anymore. They're like, why are you still here? But I've been doing it full time. So with that said, okay, something that I noticed that the father Selena did, right? He was highly, highly involved at different levels. And so was Seidy's character, Selena's mother. I'm curious to hear more about.
Wait. Keep going. I'm listening. I got a FedEx package that's coming right now. I'm gonna see. This is that father thing that you're talking about.
No.
Talking. I can hear you in my ear. I'm just.
Do you want me to let me pause and wait? I'll pause and wait.
No. Keep talking. I can hear you. Oh, you got it. Okay.
I want to wait.
Okay. Cool.
Seidy, how are you?
Nope.
I'm good. How are you?
Cool. I'm back.
Well, this is what I think Ricardo would answer. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, man. I've been waiting for this package. It's from my family. So
no, I know how you feel, man. It's all good. Go ahead, Seidy. But go ahead. You were gonna finish something, Seidy. Go ahead.
No, I was just being sarcastic. I said I was going to answer Ricardo's question, but he's back.
Please, Jorge, continue. I apologize.
So I hear a lot about filling people's shoes. This is a big shoe to fill, right? I mean, Mr. Quintanilla, right? And what I loved about your role is that you stuck to that like stoic kind of like lesson by lesson foreshadow. There's a lot of foreshadowing too in the film, right? In the series that I noticed right away. And I would love to know more about your personal journey in filling these shoes, and feeling the shoes of a lot of dads who choose this role of being an entrepreneur, of going on the road, of going alone, right? That's a very, very scary thing for parents. And when I saw this film, I was like, whoa, people are finally telling this type of story, So for you personally, how was your journey filling the role?
Okay, so I come from South Texas. I was born the same year as Selena. We were born 4 months apart, so I'm very informed about this story, living in San Antonio, growing up in San Antonio, growing up in South Texas. Abraham is a certain man of a certain age and a certain generation. I have that same thing that I call Papa. Okay. I mean, I have one of those, and they're very similar in their demeanors, and all of my tios are the same way. They've got that kind of stoic macho bravado that they walk around with, but and that's their public kind of persona. But then, when they're with their family, that's when they can take their armor off, if you will, and be a little bit more human. And I see my father do that. And I am my father's son. So I do some of that in my own home with my children and my family. So there was a lot of material that I could draw from in terms of how I was going to approach this character. But, you know, when you talk about entrepreneurship, I don't think they were thinking of it. And I don't think Abraham was in the beginning thinking of it as entrepreneurship. I think he was just trying to find a way to entertain his kids, to maybe keep them occupied so that they weren't getting in trouble or doing things that they weren't supposed to do. And then ultimately at a certain point, they decided, let's try and use this as a vehicle to feed ourselves, you know? And that's a big jump, not just for him as a parent, but also using that as applying that kind of pressure to your kids without your kids knowing that you're applying that kind of pressure. You know, I mean, I don't necessarily think that the kids realized that this is how we were going to go about putting food on the table.
Yeah.
You know, until they were already in the thick of it, you know, and then once you're in the thick of it, you know, it's like, hey, this is the road. It's the line from the series. This is the road we chose. There's no turning around. You know, we got to do it, but we're doing it together. That's where you see this beautiful foundation of the essence of family come into play in our series, and how that informs their success as a family, their success as this entrepreneurial group, and also the success of Selena.
Absolutely. Thank you for answering. Appreciate it.
No worries, man. A pleasure.
And up next, we have Lupita Rios.
There she is.
It's good. Hi. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. My question is, what was the most emotionally difficult scene to interpret in the series?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What was the most emotionally difficult scene to interpret in the series?
I don't really feel that I had difficulty with an emotional scene. I guess there is one that we have that we just finished that was difficult. But I can't really go into that one because it's not in season 1, it's in season 2. So we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, that's
one.
good.
Okay. But there was one that was, yeah.
It gets you?
Hard. It gets you. It got me. And hopefully it'll, you know.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth waiting for.
Oh.
It's worth waiting for, and Seidy does an amazing job.
Oh, I can imagine where you guys are going.
You too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And we can wait to see it.
And up next, we have Keisha Gully from the Keisha Project.
Hi.
Hey,
I noticed
Keisha.
Hi. I noticed that Selena and Suzette had like a really close relationship. How did that resonate with you, especially as parents?
Well, I mean, I hear you doing some parenting over there right now. That sounds like so I totally understand that. You know, it's to be able to see these actors come together as siblings, and to see them joking around off camera and even on camera. You know, it did nothing but inform, you know, the roles that, or at least for me, the role that I was playing as their father, you know, and starting to even, you know, sometimes discipline them, you know, on set, like, hey guys, quiet, we're trying to work. But no, it really to watch all of us come together and build these beautiful relationships just absolutely made the ensemble work that we were doing as actors portraying this family that much easier.
Great. And next up, we have Monica Villa from Monica Plus 2.
Hi, everyone. Do you feel there was a significant difference between how much pressure Dad put on AB and Selena? And if so, why do you think that was?
This is for me? For me, I
Yes.
guess?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that that's something that's kind of built into our culture to a certain degree. As a Mexican father, you are going to put Mexican American father. You're going to in that macho way. You're going to put maybe a little bit more pressure or focus on your son than your daughter. It's kind of an old school tactic, I guess. I think it lends itself to maybe a little bit of toxic masculinity, in this day and age. But I know that my father did it with me. I know that I have done it at times with my son as well. But it's trying to get them to become a man, and the good thing is that these days we've understood that there are a lot more details to becoming a man than just that macho. Okay, there is the idea of raising our children with a certain degree of empathy and sensitivity, and also as a as a Mexican American father in this day and generation, I make sure to try and put as much emphasis on my daughter being a strong and independent woman as I do the focus on my son. But remember, we're playing characters that were in the 1980s and 1990s, and parenting was different than what it is today. Seidy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that the interesting thing about that I learned also about the show is just that, through the show, is that what we don't realize is how independent and how strong Selena really was. Because you do have this image of all of them being together and the band being behind her and her being on the stage. But in many ways, she was very independent, I feel, in some ways, and strong. And so I think even back then, it must have challenged Abraham and Marcela to kind of think outside the box and step out and kind of compromise a little bit. I do feel like playing Marcela and being in that journey. One thing that I know that affected me is that a lot of the times, most of whenever it came to AB, usually most of the interaction or musical bond or a lot of the things came from Abraham. And there were times when, as Seidy, my natural instinct was like, I wanted to go and just mother AB so badly. Like I just wanted, and it didn't call for it in our scenes, but I was just like, oh, I just want to hug that kid. I just want to give him all this support, and and I think that maybe that's probably very relatable to mothers back then, because they were like all of these roles and this person did that and that person did that, and you just kind of assumed that that's the way it was. Fortunately, in my household, it wasn't like that, and that's why I love my dad so much because it was different with us, and I love it. Yeah, I love him for that.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Carlota Zambrano from Criando Ando.
Hello, thank you for having me here. I love the series, and I love the musical journey, as it is like the common ground the family share, and from where everything else revolves. Even though the musical interest or participation is different among the characters, some are very stellar and the others are just like more supportive. But how do you think like the music was ultimately like a language of love for the Quintanilla family, how it helped even after everything happened, or how was that bond built you know, over the music.
Seidy?
I think music was a big part of their bond and their journey. You know, since they were little, that huge bond that Abraham and the kids had and he initiated was the foundation for their whole journey. So music and family and life experience came all together. They were all connected, and it was a huge bond. So yeah, to answer your question, I would say they go hand in hand with this story. Did you want to add to that, Ricardo?
No, I think you captured that perfectly. I mean, it is just about, you know, him handing down something that he had an absolute love for to his children. Yeah, you know, with the hopes of educating them and bonding with them, and again, like I said, probably, you know, to a certain degree, just giving them something positive to occupy their time with.
Yeah. I have a great story for you. We actually had the opportunity to talk to Suzette a week before we wrapped season 2. And she told us this beautiful story. She said, have you ever listened to a record? She said, and she goes, my dad taught us this. And when you listen to a record, most of the time you listen to everything together. But what he showed us is that to choose one instrument at a time when you're listening to it. And the way she spoke of that moment and the way she described it, it was so beautiful. Like you could tell to her, it's something that her dad has left with her, that love for music, that love for, you know, and this comes from a child that didn't want to play the drums originally right away. And now when you hear her talk about music, you can see that she loves it, and the understanding of it is so special. So I guess that would really answer your question.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And that concludes our roundtable. Thank you so much for joining us. Please head back to the hospitality for a photo booth opportunity. Thank you all.
To meet you all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jorge, for being patient with me. I appreciate it.
Saludos a todos. Suerte con todo.
Thank you, brother. Okay.
Se comieron.